He's doing good, you know. Tough kid, obviously. After the first round, his eye was bothering him. You could see that he got hit. Justin just kept busting him up the next couple of rounds.
Yeah.
And Ilia really wanted to continue. I actually think he probably won that round, too. His corner, I think, stopped the fight.
Ilia Topuria is so good. And he had him in sick trouble in that second round. I watched it again yesterday. The second round was brutal. I mean, Ilia was just destroying his liver. But even in the second round, Justin, he still bloodied Ilia up. His face was busted up. Like, he was getting the most damage to Ilia's face. And that was a giant factor in the fight, because everybody who he's fought has said he's one of the hardest guys that's ever hit them, including Khabib, who's, you know, one of the all-time greats. What's being reported is that he had 2 broken orbital bones and a broken nose. So both his eyes were broken and his nose was broken. And Justin was here a couple days later and he looked great. But sometimes a loss is like one of the most important things a fighter can ever have, because they realize, like, you can be beat. You can't just throw caution to the wind sometimes and just engage in these wild scraps. You have to be a little bit more tactical. You got to realize, like, you can't take everybody out. And that's the case with Justin. He couldn't take him out. He almost did in the second round.
The medical report that emerged after UFC Freedom 250 stunned the entire MMA world. Fans already knew Ilia Topuria had taken serious damage during his brutal loss to Justin Gaethje, but the full extent of the injuries was even worse than many expected. What initially looked like severe swelling and facial trauma turned out to be something much more serious. According to the official medical findings, Topuria suffered fractures to both orbital bones during the fight. For a fighter who entered the event as one of the most dominant champions in the sport, the news immediately raised questions about his recovery timeline and what comes next for his career. It was a reminder of just how brutal the sport can be, even for athletes who seem nearly unbeatable.
It's the pressure fight. Oh, right hand, he hurt him. I mean, Ilia's face is just destroyed.
We literally had him get out of the octagon before the hand was even raised and sent him to the hospital.
During the main event of UFC Freedom 250, Topuria absorbed some of the hardest shots of his professional career. Reports later confirmed that he suffered fractures around both eye sockets, with the damage to his right eye being significantly worse. The information was first shared by MMA reporter Alvaro Colmenero and quickly spread across the combat sports world. Suddenly, many of the moments that seemed unusual during the fight started to make sense. Fans who wondered why Topuria's movement slowed down or why he appeared less reactive in the later rounds now had an explanation. He wasn't simply dealing with fatigue. He was fighting through serious facial injuries while standing across from one of the hardest hitters in MMA history.
Big knee, big hit to the body. That was 4.
Fortunately for Topuria, doctors determined that surgery would not be required. Because the fractures were non-displaced, the bones remained properly aligned despite the damage. In medical terms, that is the best possible outcome for an injury of this severity. Still, nobody inside the sport is treating this lightly. Orbital fractures are among the most serious injuries a fighter can suffer without undergoing surgery. Recovery takes time, vision must be carefully monitored, and fighters often need months before they are cleared to return to full training. The fact that Justin Gaethje was able to inflict that kind of damage only reinforced his reputation as one of the most dangerous punchers the UFC has ever seen. Every shot he throws carries fight-changing power, and on that night, the evidence was impossible to ignore.
Champion of the world, Justin!
Just because he beat me. Know what I mean? Which, you know, to be honest, that might have played a part in it. Know what I mean? The fact I hate Ilia and the fact that Justin beat me and I like Justin, that might have played a part. Gaethje to get you into that dogfight, dragged you into it. Know what I mean? And Ilia's never had that. Ilia's never had to come back from adversity. Ilia's only ever been the hammer. He's never been the nail. Know what I mean? That's why I don't think Ilia Topuria ever comes back the same. His whole mantra, his whole like ego, know what I mean? Like, his is like, I'm undefeated, no one can beat me. Having celebrations the night before the fight. I just don't think he'll ever be the same. He's never had to come back from nothing like that. I've had to face adversity before, so nothing can prepare you for it. That's the thing, and that's why I don't think he'll ever come back the same. Nothing can prepare you for it, but we'll find out what sort of man he is if he does come back and when he does come back. Because, as I say, I've been there before. I've been beat. Know what I mean? And I've had to come back stronger every time, and I have done. He's never been beat. He's never had to do this before. He's gonna have to look at himself in the mirror and be like, "What? I've just got my head smashed in. I need to come back." And you never know. He might not have the cojones to do it.
Many fighters and analysts believe the story of this fight goes beyond the final result. Justin Gaethje did not simply defeat Ilia Topuria, he forced him into a situation he had rarely experienced before. Throughout most of his UFC career, Topuria had been the aggressor, the fighter dictating the pace and forcing opponents to react to him. Against Gaethje, the fight gradually shifted in the opposite direction. For one of the first times in his career, Topuria was forced to deal with sustained pressure, adversity, and physical damage that he could not simply overcome through skill alone. That is why fighters like Paddy Pimblett believe this loss may ultimately become the most important test of Topuria's career. Championships are impressive, but true greatness is often measured by how a fighter responds after suffering a devastating setback.
But all these reports are that he has 2 fractured orbitals and a broken nose. Just that alone, just the orbitals alone, like anytime you've got eye injuries, like anything severe with your eyes, long-term consequences vary.
It's psychological.
Absolutely.
And
your
physical,
body heals.
and physical.
The body is resilient. Like,
I'm telling you,
broken bones make stronger bones. Like that is his orbital bones will be stronger.
It
they will
depends
be
on where,
calcified.
though, Justin. The orbital bone, I had my orbital broken, and for 6 months, I would do this and my tooth would move. And it's right where my sinus cavity is. You remember when you hit me with the spinning elbow?
Your tooth would move?
Dude,
when you push
right
on
here,
your cheek?
and my tooth would move.
As more details emerged after the event, attention quickly shifted from the scorecards to the injuries themselves. Facial injuries are notoriously difficult for combat athletes because they affect far more than physical health. Fighters must regain confidence in exchanges, trust their reactions again, and overcome the memory of the damage they suffered. Many veterans have admitted that the psychological side of recovery can sometimes be harder than the physical healing process. Every punch near the injured area can trigger hesitation, and even a small hesitation can be costly at the highest level of MMA. That reality is why so many people are closely watching how Topuria handles the months ahead. His recovery will not simply be about healing bones. It will be about rebuilding confidence and proving that this setback does not define his future.
Keep going. And that's it.
It's seeing a little bit the future now. We have for you, obviously, your next fight as a fighter coming up. But we also, before we will talk about that, you also have your brother who will fight in the White House. You as a head coach against Gaethje.
Yes.
What do you think about this? It's not actually a super fight. I need to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed. I wanted to see like something, I don't know, Islam or somebody like have like this obvious super fight.
Yes.
What do you think?
So first of all, what I want to say that I think we have to put some more respect to Justin Gaethje. Yeah, first of all, because he's a dangerous guy. You cannot look at him like, for sure I believe in my brother, even if you ask me how the fight gonna end. I think everybody know the answer, what I will say. Because not just because he's my brother, because that the styles make the fight. And the style Justin Gaethje have, Ilia is El Matador for that style, for every style, but especially for people who want to fight, he's El Matador, yes? So, but I never, ever underestimate Justin Gaethje. So, yeah, in this case, I'm speaking about Justin Gaethje, but the reality is that I don't underestimate anybody. Anybody. Even if I fight with somebody like 2 categories less, 3 categories less, you don't underestimate anybody because he have 2 hands, 2 legs like you. So, yes. And in that level,